Hey, it's Clay Trader at claytrader.com. In this quick tip video, I want to talk about a very risky type of goal that sounds good in theory when you want to put it into place, but when you actually stop and think about it, and through just my personal experience, it's just, like I said, quite frankly, a risky goal. This video actually came from a question that I got a couple weeks ago, and shame on me for not thinking of this sooner because it is an important concept and topic. But they asked, hey Clay, how much do you try to make per day? Or are you looking for a certain percentage per week or per month or per year? Or how do you, what are your goals for how much you want to make? And that got me thinking, well, that's actually not what I do at all because that is very risky. So any type of goal that goes something like this, I want to make, and then fill in the blank. I want to make, $500 every couple days. I want to make 10% per week. I want to make 20% yield on my portfolio over the year. Whatever that is, you just fill it in, and this is your goal. And that sounds good. All right, you're setting goals. That's one of the things you learn. You should be setting goals. That way you have something to strive for, and I agree with all that. However, through personal experience, I've noticed, and I've learned that, to me at least, this creates two types of falses, and both are obviously bad because they are falses. Maybe you've heard me say it before, but $500 a day keeps a day job away. And I know the person that contacted me thought, I know you try to make $500 a day. And I want to kind of step back from that. Yeah, I like the saying, yeah, it's a good kind of broad goal. However, my goal is not $500 a day. To be blunt, I have zero goals. And this is why I have zero goals when it comes to my trading. The first type of false, so like I said, two falses are created when you try to set these types of goals. But the first one is false confidence. So let's just take my example, and through my experience, hey, I want to make $500 a day. So I start trading, and then I get to like, I don't know, let's say $440. So I need just $60 more, and so I can meet my goal. So I'm looking, and then all of a sudden I do this. I force a trade. I let my imagination take over. If you haven't watched that video, be sure to click up there, watch the imagination video, and that's very, very important in terms of how the psychology works in terms of forcing trades. But if I'm at 440, I just need 60 more. Okay, I think I see something. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, that should get me $60, and then I force a trade. And then, let's say in this case it does work out. I get lucky. Boom, I get my 500. So force trade. Well, like I said, it's because I got lucky, and this is leading to confidence. But it's forcing trades. Is that a long-term recipe for success? No, not at all. So I'm giving myself false confidence because I just happened to get lucky. I really forced a trade. Sure, I got my $500, but it was in a very undisciplined and very unwise ways. Now, the second type is false failure. Meaning, you don't force a trade, but because you're not forcing a trade, you don't make your goal. So no goal. Now you could be sitting there for the day saying, I ended the day at 440, I missed my goal, that was a bad day, I failed, I didn't do what I was supposed to, I didn't hit my goal. But is that really the case? Of course not. You were disciplined, you didn't force any trades, there weren't any opportunities available, so you didn't trade. That is awesome, that is what you're supposed to do. And so that's why I don't like that, because I struggled with that. I started to say, oh man, I failed, I didn't hit my goal. Or, if it was a weekly goal, oh man, I wanted to make this amount, but I didn't make it. And then, you just play tricks with yourself, although you're really being disciplined, you're being, you're following your plan, you're following your strategy and rules. But that's just something you have to understand is you're not always going to be able to hit numbers because sometimes there's not always going to be trades there. So if you're not striving to make anything, then you're not going to be putting yourself in these situations. But, a valid kind of maybe counter argument will be, well, then how are you supposed to make any progress without any goals? I've learned that if you just trade the opportunities that present themselves, be patient, be disciplined, follow your rules, all this stuff works itself out. Sure, one day, maybe real low. Let's just stay with the $500 a day example. Sure, maybe one day, I make, 150, let's say. But that was just the opportunities that were available. But then there's days where I make well over 500. So things always balance out, and they will always balance themselves out over the long period of time. As long as you're not forcing trades and just taking what's available, everything in the grand scheme of things does work itself out. So don't set a goal. Don't judge yourself on how you did for one day or 1 week or even 1 year. Because that's gonna, can you imagine 1 year? Maybe you get up to the last month and you're close but not quite there. That could be a disastrous month if you're just starting to force trade after trade after trade because you want to get up to that yearly goal, whatever it may be. So just avoid this goal, way too risky, and it can create too many mind tricks with yourself. So just focus on opportunities available, and over the broad scheme of things, everything will work itself out. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. A couple things I want you to do. If you enjoyed the video and you're watching this on YouTube, 2 things. Please click the like button below and then subscribe to the channel if you haven't not yet. This will keep you up to date on not only these videos, but chart analyses I do, and then also my live trade videos where you can watch me trade, win, lose, or draw, all unscripted. And then if you're watching this on claytrader.com, please leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Click the share button. Little things like that, little clicks of the mouse go a long way. And as long as I still see that there's interest involved, then like I always say, I will keep making these. So just take a few seconds, click the like button or click the share button, leave a comment, and those little things go a long way. Thanks for watching. Remember, stay away from these risky goals and trade without emotion.